Good afternoon. We have the new website now, so it's kind of, wow, look at those bags under my eyes. I'm gonna need freaking makeup for these types of things. Holy shit. That sucks. Yeah, I'm starting to show my age, my friends. I'm gonna try my glasses on here. I look younger. Okay. Just a quick mention. Hi, I'm Rob Allan. I own BarefootBay.com. Just wanted to, get people kind of used to, watching short videos like this that will hopefully, allow those that, aren't necessarily out in the community, in the know per se, or aren't following Facebook. It's real easy to have things just suddenly pop up on you and you don't realize what's going on. So I'm going to take a second and go over the ballot. So when you open the ballot, here, let me open this one. When you open the ballot, inside, you're going to find an envelope with the number that correlates to your lot. There's a letter from the district, basically, explaining to you that what's going on with the ballot. It's sometimes difficult to read between the lines when you get something like this. It can be confusing, but ultimately the important thing to remember here is that the proposed changes have come as recommendations from the Board of Trustees, the Ad Hoc Committee, the Deed of Restrictions Review Committee, residents, and the Barefoot Bay staff. They recommend these. They recommend you say yes. So let's go ahead and go through the ballot. Okay? Question number 1. This is going to amend and replace the minimum length and width requirements on the current deed of restrictions. Now, the current deed of restrictions requires that you have a home no less than 20 feet wide by 32 feet deep. If you do the math on that, okay, it's what, 680 square feet? 640 square, 620 times 32, 640 square feet. Okay, the only difference is somebody's forcing you to put a home on your property that's 20 feet wide instead of, say, 15 feet by 40 feet. That's 600 square feet. If you wanted to go to 640, it would be 15 feet by, 45 feet to cover that. Again, this is not an issue for Barefoot Bay. Okay, a 600 square foot home. There aren't a lot of people that are going to put a 600 square foot single wide trailer on their lot. Will it happen? Absolutely, it's going to happen. It's an option for people. But the reality is if we change this 600 square foot instead of the 20 by 32 that's currently required, you're going to end up, with some people taking advantage of it and a lot of people saying, I wouldn't put a 640 square foot double wide on my lot, let alone a 600 square foot single wide. Again, people's arguments, they just don't hold up when it comes to, their fears about drug addicts suddenly coming into our community because somebody bought a brand new single wide trailer? That's silly. We have our drug users here, but it's a controlled situation for the most part. When we have to deal with a single wide trailer coming into our community, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be because there was a fire. Somebody lost their home. Look, a lot of people in Barefoot Bay don't have insurance. A lot of people don't have adequate insurance. A lot of people that think they have adequate insurance don't have adequate insurance. So honestly, when somebody has a disaster, we just had folks lose a home on Amaryllis 2 days ago. Look, I don't know the people that live there. I don't know their personal situation. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't have enough insurance to replace that home. And because of a terrible tragedy, I mean, what appears to be a golf cart caught fire, they lose their entire home. And now, because we can't put a smaller home, a single wide home that's absolutely less expensive than a double wide, don't try to convince me otherwise, those folks may not be able to stay in Barefoot Bay. And that's a shame. That's a shame, because it's not about the home. It's always about the homeowner. And if you have great neighbors, you don't want to see them have to move because they simply can't afford to put in a double wide trailer. Let's vote yes on one. Give people the option to put in a smaller home if they want. It won't happen overnight. It's not like, tomorrow, you're going to see a train of 500 homes coming through. That's just not going to happen. I mean, there's less than 30 empty lots in all of Barefoot Bay. I mean, and there's over 200 or almost 200 single wides in Barefoot Bay today. A brand new single wide trailer is built dramatically better than the 1970s single wides that we have currently here in Barefoot Bay. Most of them were built in the 70s. But honestly, 20 years ago, when we lost 900 homes, the price of a double wide manufactured home was half the price it is today. Can you buy a cheap double wide home? Yes, you can. And you get what you pay for. You'll get a home that doesn't have gutters, that, why would you buy the cheapest of anything? Nobody does that. Unless they can't afford it, right? So, again, this is the option to put in a single wide trailer if you want. I don't believe a lot of people are going to go that direction, but at least it's their choice and it's their option. And unless we have a major disaster. I mean, we lost 900 homes in 2004. If we had a similar disaster today, you're correct. You're going to see more single wides, but you're going to see those people rebuilding. The easiest thing to say is, oh, well, no, that's the speculators will come in and snap all those homes up. No speculator is going to come in here when it's a disaster zone and nobody is rebuilding. Why? Why would you do that? Wait, right? Wait. What's going to happen? A year down the road, 2 years down the road, those disaster homes, those homes that people abandoned because they had no insurance, they had a lack of insurance, they had barely enough insurance. Those people are going to leave. They're going to take their money, what little there may be left, and they're going to leave. And are they worried about selling their property? No, because there's 900 other homes in the same damn situation. I mean, if you have that little damage to your home that you can afford to fix it, most people are going to do that. But it's the people that have $30,000, $40,000 worth of damage to their home, or worse, because of that $30,000, $40,000, maybe the roof got lifted up a little bit. At that point, the inspector says that house is done. You can't rebuild that house. You have to replace it. And the only option we have right now to replace a home in Barefoot Bay is to put in a double wide trailer. Twice the expenses, installation-wise, with regards to a single wide. Significantly more expensive. And honestly, again, it makes no difference about the home. It's the homeowner. And you and I both know that our neighbors are fantastic. These are great people. A lot of them are older. A lot of them are on fixed incomes. And I understand even if they have any kind of major damage, that they may have to rethink, what they're going to do in Barefoot Bay. But honestly, people that have friends and relatives that they can move in with, children that they can move back in with. The children might like to maybe keep grandma in Barefoot Bay. And if the price was less than $250,000, you know, I can see kids stepping up, helping their mom, helping her rebuild, allowing her to stay where she wants to be. And then, you know, they have a home themselves naturally. You know, they would have got it anyway when mom passes, but as I got my house. You know, I'm just so over the fear mongering associated with, you know, we'll have low class people move here, you know, drug addicts. And then the one that they all love to talk about is the property values. Look, when you bought here, there were already 200 single wides. Did that affect the price of your home? No, of course it didn't. The economy affects the prices of homes. Your prices go up when there's more buyers than sellers. Okay? Your prices go up when insurance prices go down. Like that's ever going to happen. Interest rates are high. So people can't finance, certainly because of the insurance. So when they want to come in and make a cash offer on your home, well, you know, it's going to probably be a lower price. But again, our property values have literally shifted with all of Florida's property values, including, you know, CBS homes, concrete block homes. Their prices went up. Our prices went up. And right now, their prices are coming down. Guess what? Our prices are coming down as well. But it doesn't have anything to do with single wides, does it? No, nothing. So anyway, I do happen to have 2 ballots. I own 2 homes in Barefoot Bay. And so I am going to be filling out both of my ballots right now. Here's the other one. Here's the other one. So I have 2 ballots. And I am yes on 1, yes on 2, yes on 3, and yes on 4. And I'm going to mark all my ballots, both ballots, the same. You know, I went on a spiel about question number 1 because that's the only one that anybody cares about. But let me go over 2, 3, and 4 real quick for you. 2 is simply defining the word unobstructed. Okay, so we use the word unobstructed actually in the next paragraph or the next question. So now we know what the word unobstructed means. It means clear and free from physical obstructions or obstacles. Okay, so that's just the definition. Say yes. The third question is on the back. Okay, so what we're doing here is again, we are getting rid of number 5, so everything here has to be renumbered. Okay, so although it looks like a lot, the only thing that's happening with all of these is the renumbering. There are no other strikeouts on here at all. So we are literally changing number 2 in section 2, section 3A2. Okay, so we're changing this to state literally instead of the numbers, it's going to have the written out 11 by 18. So that's one of the changes. And then the other one is, and a covered concrete carport slab having a minimum unobstructed area of 11 feet by 18 feet, which is the same thing that is stated right here. So they basically just combined this one with number 2. Nothing changes, absolutely nothing changes. Say yes. And then finally, the fourth question talks about setting up on piers, okay? If you have a new home coming into Barefoot Bay, well, the DOR was requiring you put your home on piers, even if it doesn't require piers. And we do have homes that can be put in Barefoot Bay. As an example, the concrete home on Barefoot Boulevard between the four-way stop and the convenience stores on the north side of the road. You've seen it. That home does not need piers. It's literally lifted and set on a foundation. So this requirement is no longer needed because we state below, now it will be placed on a foundation appropriate to the style of the home being installed. So if you need piers, well, you're gonna have piers. If you don't need piers, you don't need to have piers, okay? So that's yes on 4. So again, yes, 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 yes. Let's go ahead and get these in the envelopes. Now, I have 2 envelopes here because I have 2 homes. Where's the other envelope? There it is. Okay. So I have 2 homes. So you do not sign your ballot, okay? Don't sign this. Your vote is supposed to be anonymous. So we don't wanna have your name attached to your actual ballot. Okay. And I'll stick this one in this one. So at this point, I'm gonna seal this up. That's a lickable, it's not a peel and stick. Okay. Back of the envelope. You need to sign it. Sign it here, okay? It's kind of your attesting that this is your ballot. Don't worry about the ballot inside. When they open these, they kind of turn them upside down, center to the side. They're not attaching your no or yes votes to your name. Don't fret about that. Okay, mine are signed. I'll be dropping those off at the admin building just a little bit here. Naturally, if you're getting your ballot and you're in Iowa or even Canada for that matter, please fill out the ballot and send it in. Again, I'm not shy about the fact that I think it's time that we focus on the future of Barefoot Bay. The reality is that insurance costs have skyrocketed, and people are dropping their insurance coverage everywhere. And the fear, now I believe this to be a real fear, okay, so I'm not fear mongering, but the fear is if you bought this house 20 years ago and you paid $75,000 for it and you've lived in it for 20 years, and suddenly a hurricane comes through and knocks down your property, a lot of people are going to look at the value of that property as it was, and 75 grand, I got a lot out of that, but I don't want to spend $250,000 to replace it. I have to tear the old one down. I have to have the new one brought in and put on my lot. I have to maybe have a new shed, a new carport. I have to have electrical and plumbing hooked up to it. And when we have people in Barefoot Bay that are in similar situations, because a lot of people did not spend $200,000 buying their home in Barefoot Bay. 20 years ago, the prices were not that high. Of course, same goes for around the neighborhood. I mean, it's not like Barefoot Bay is the only homes in Florida that increased in price over the last 20 years. But the reality is a lot of people don't have a lot invested. I mean, really invested. So you need those people, you need to give a reason for them to rebuild. You need to have options for them to rebuild other than spending $250,000 on a home they can't insure for the full amount. I'm sorry, that's the reality. That is the reality. And so if we get hit by a storm, if we get hit by a storm, we're gonna have problems. A lot of people are not going to rebuild in Barefoot Bay. We can't have it. We can't have that. Our community will die if people do not rebuild. If homes stay empty for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, longer, because there's no value. Why would you buy $250,000 home to put on a lot in Barefoot Bay? And yeah, can you get a double wide for 150? You gonna do some of the work yourself? You're gonna take the absolute cheapest model you can find? Is that really what you want to live in? You know, people take pride in living in their homes here in Barefoot Bay. Even a home that's 40 years old, there's a lot of pride in that, but probably been quite a few renovations as well over the years. So, you know, not everybody has just their initial investment in their property. But let's see. Look, I want to be optimistic that the First Amendment here will pass. But let me just talk real quick to those folks that are in that yes camp, in the same camp that I'm in. I know people are hoping and praying and waiting actually to rebuild their own homes, entirely dependent on whether or not we get a yes vote. So at this point, if the vote is no, okay, all right. I mean, do I think it'll be close? Yeah, I definitely think it'll be close. But if the vote is no, there's another review of the DOR in 5 years. I'll spend 5 years again pushing the same argument. If we get hit by a storm, it's going to devastate our community. And without the option to put in a smaller home, which there are people out there that want that. They want to live in a smaller home. They don't need stuff. A lot of people in Barefoot Bay become single, widowed, and they don't need as much. They don't need as much space. They should have the option to stay here in Barefoot Bay and not have to leave. They've lived here, some of them 40 years. I know a few people that have been here 50. I don't know if that 50 is right. Pretty close though. But like I say, if it doesn't pass, I expect it to be close. But if it doesn't pass, that's not a no forever. That's a no for now. Have a great day. Appreciate your time. Bye.